How's it going, everybody? This is Ron Sparkman, and I am the Chief Curiosity Correspondent for the Space Foundation Discovery Center, and we're going to get to today's interview here in just a few moments, but first we want to remind you that earlier this month we announced the launch of our Center for Innovation and Education. The Center for Innovation and Education creates and delivers inclusive, innovative, and sustainable workforce development and economic opportunity programs that enable all people to actively participate in the space economy. Through public and private partnerships, the center engages students, young leaders, entrepreneurs, and professionals. We encourage you to learn more about the new Center for Innovation and Education and how you can make an impact at www.spacefoundation.com/CIE. And today, my very special guest, all the way from Lahore, Pakistan, is Yumna Majeed, and she is the founder of Exploration and one of my very good friends. So, Yumna, we're glad to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm good. How are you doing?
Doing wonderful. We're glad to talk to you today, and I'm going to pick your brain a little bit about some stuff. But first, my favorite question always to start out with is, what inspired your passion for space and science?
So I think the only answer is curiosity. I believe that human DNA comes with this specific gene sequence of curiosity, and in my case, this curiosity was so amplified. Since my childhood, I never had any passion to visit any country or visit any space center, but I was a kid who used to say that people on Earth can visit Earth, but there are only a few people from Earth who can visit what's outside the Earth, and there are only a very few lucky people from the mankind who are able to see this planet from outside, and how does it look, how does it feels like. And this curiosity was so much amplified that I have actually dreamt myself, like I have seen dreams where I'm floating in zero gravity, like for real. Yeah, so that's curiosity, I guess.
I love it. And so how did you fall in love with astronomy for the first time, and what made you decide that you want to get into that?
A love for astronomy. It's the same. I always wanted to know what's outside this planet, because in the books, in the news, in newspapers, in print media, we can know most of the things about planet Earth. Like the people who live on this planet are doing research, and people live in every corner of this planet. But what's outside this ball? I used to consider this Earth like a tiny ball, and when I used to play any sport, I used to think that, okay, fine, this is a ball, and like there's a whole big environment outside this ball. So if Earth is a ball, then what's outside? So this was just curiosity, and that time I don't have internet, and there were not much resources for me where I could learn about space or astronomy. We don't have it in our books or in schools. So the only source of information was television news or some newspapers. That's it. So I used to keep on a track that I remember in my childhood there were news about Pluto, that Pluto is a planet now. And no, Pluto is not a planet now. So that's something I remember from my childhood.
And so you mentioned that it's so you're in the medical field, but you want to do astronomy work, and so you tried to find a way to do it. And I know a big way that you've been able to do it is to work with a lot of kids. So how did you start working with kids at schools in Pakistan where you're at?
Okay, so the first thing I did was I started visiting different schools randomly. I talked to their teachers and principals that I want to offer these sessions for free, and I am not teaching them something which is totally out of the book. I am going to teach them about the myths of our solar system. So our science books, our general science books have at least one chapter about solar system. That's the only space thing we have in our science books. So I wanted to link something so that schools don't say no to me. But it was very difficult in the beginning. It was very difficult, honestly,
Yeah.
to make them agree. They were not willing because I'm a medical student, and over here, medical degree is considered the most prestigious degree. So some teachers and principals used to say that you are a medical student and you want to teach astronomy, and astronomy is it's not a science; it's just a hobby. So that was pretty difficult, but what helped me was I started registering myself as a volunteer and as a student ambassador on different international websites like the Planetary Society, like International Astronomical Union, and Astronomers Without Borders. And I just make my name card and put that lanyard around my neck. And then I used to go to schools and I tell them that I belong to this organization and I am here to offer this session for free. So, and I used to print some stickers, some space related stickers for kids so that they can like get excited about space, and schools get happy that okay, someone is coming to our school, they are delivering a lecture and they are giving something to our kids as well. So these are some tricks that made my path easy or much better than before. So that's how I started working with the kids, just going randomly to schools, asking them for a 40-minute session, and ta-da.
And here you are doing amazing work. So let's talk a little bit about what it is that you do with exploration. Well, first, let's talk about the inspiration for how you created it. What made it all come together, and tell us a little bit about the platform.
Okay, so Exploration is a registered social enterprise now. It is space education-based social enterprise which is working in Pakistan since 2016. The main aim of exploration is to inspire young generation of Pakistan to become a space generation of Pakistan. And I try to teach all modules of astronomy to kids. We specifically target an age group of 4 years to 14 years, 6 years to 14 years, because at this age, kids can get that spark for for astronomy or for any kind of science. So when I teach astronomy or science to the kids, the main purpose is not to make them an astronomer. The main purpose is not to make them an astronaut. I want them to follow their passion, no matter what it is. Even if it is arts or music or painting or sketching or it's science, biophysics, chemistry, whatever they want to do, just I want to keep them curious. I don't want them to stop dreaming because of any harsh comment by their parent or friend or teacher that you cannot do this, you cannot achieve this. Yeah, so that's it. I want kids to follow their passion. And technically, if speaking about exploration, I say that I want to make astronomy go viral in Pakistan. I want to make astronomy a trendy thing in my country so that it can reach to as many people as it can.
And so, yeah, I mean, you actually are now one of a few people that are science communicators in Pakistan. So tell us a little bit about what it means to be a face for something that you love so much, because, we met 4 or 5 years ago and this was just a little bit of a dream for you. And now you get to do it all the time. So what does it mean to be somebody that, you're getting interviewed now, people are, asking you your opinions on all this stuff. And I know it's a big dream of yours, and it's definitely been coming true recently.
Yes, 4 years ago it seemed impossible. It totally seemed impossible. I remember how I used to talk to you and cry and complain that there is no astronomy in Pakistan and I cannot do this, and I can never achieve anything. I cannot fulfill my dreams. Blah blah blah. A lot of ranting, but well, this is totally unimaginable. But At this point of my space journey and all the space education I do in Pakistan, the most best feeling is the impact that I'm creating. And when I get remarks from students and from parents, when I receive emails and messages in which parent says that like our daughter is 5 years old and we want them to be Yumna Majeed. And when young girls text me or comment on my interviews that you are our inspiration and you have done a lot, you are a source of motivation. When little kids send me emails that my life is all about black holes and dark matters. Can you please provide me a platform of like-minded people? So I got this email from a 9 years old kid. That was a really I felt very accomplished and satisfied and confident of my work, that okay, wow, now little kids are reaching out to me and asking if they can like get together and talk about space. So this is what I do. This is really the most beautiful feeling that I have felt in the past 4 years. It gives me confidence and it keeps me going on. These are these people who message me or email me, I feel like they are baby Yumnas, like they are little Yumnas, like they are my past version, and like they have come to me asking for help, asking for space. So I always reply each kid that yes, never stop dreaming. And kids like you are genius. You can achieve wonders. You can do wonders in science. Just never let your spirit die. So I think these things motivate kids a lot. And I am ready to do it for my entire life. I never get bored of doing this.
And I mean, you're amazing what you do. And again, I know that so many people have been talking to you recently, and you've been doing more and more events in Pakistan. So and really, like it is like more and more people are popping up. And just recently, Technology Review got a hold of you, which is part of MIT, if I remember correctly, and talked to you about all the amazing things that you've been up to, and talked to you a little bit about where your passion came from. And you talked a little bit about it earlier, but when you were very little, you somebody in class said, or I'm sorry, the teacher had asked you what everybody wanted to be when they grew up, and you said you wanted to be an astronaut, and that didn't go over too well. And so, what does it mean for you now that you've been able to do as much as you can, and do you still have that dream of being an astronaut someday?
Yes, yes, yes. This is this is a like never-ending dream for me to become an astronaut and to do the space travel. But I know that becoming an astronaut is not an easy job, and to become an astronaut, before becoming an astronaut, to become a really good scientist is more important, I guess. A very good researcher, um, and a very good at someone who is good at physical and mental being. So uh, by the time whenever I read about the requirements of astronauts and when I read profiles of previous astronauts, I do feel that I'm not eligible for this task. But again, when I see my fellow women doing cool stuff and working hard, like Bailey, like other different space girls from different countries, they really motivate me and encourage me that if they are doing it, then I can do it as well.
Mm-hmm.
It is a dream, but I think it's the final frontier. Before becoming an astronaut, there are a lot of skills you have to learn, and I want to make that journey worth spending. uh, I don't know even if I become an astronaut, what would be my feeling, because sometimes you get bored of or you get disappointed when you reach your final destination. So For me, my journey is more important than my final destination. An astronaut is my final destination.
That's the final destination. So, what are you most excited about when you finally get to space? Is it looking back at Earth, or is it looking out? Because I can't honestly. It's my dream too. You know, we've talked about it before. I definitely want to go, and I really don't know which part I think I'd be more amazed by. So, what about you?
I think if I am going to International Space Station, then my favorite thing to do would be looking at the Earth and trying to do some different experiments in zero gravity. I would love to talk to little kids from space. And I want to show them the real space, and I want to tell them that this this is also a destination. This is also a profession, other than being an engineer or a doctor or a lawyer. This is also a profession, and this is really cool. This is for real, no myth. Yeah, and these two things would be most favorite, if only if I'm going to ISS. But what I personally want is to visit Jupiter's moon Europa. I just love Jupiter and that moon, and I want to recreate dinosaurs for you.
So I got to go with you on that one. I think my ultimate destination is Europa. I've always said I want to go fishing on Europa and look out at Jupiter. I think that would be the coolest thing. Yeah, I think that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
So you work with SGAC, which is the Space Generation Advisory Council, and you are you're the first person to really do it in Pakistan. So can you tell us a little bit about the work that you do with them and what the organization is?
Yeah. So with Space Generation Advisory Council, it is a amazing platform, amazing platform, and I am their first point of contact, which means that I'm the first person to be contacted for SGAC. So SGAC have two positions for national coordinator. With me, I have my co-coordinator Hamza Hamid, which is a space lawyer, and we both have to work on some reports. And SGAC is a very huge platform that you can join different project groups there. You can research about your own interest, and you can interact with different people who are actually working in space industry. The best part about SGAC is they don't restrict you to have a space degree. Like, I don't have a degree in space, but I am still a part of them. And last year I went to a conference. I won an award that was also on behalf of SGAC. So it is a pretty good and amazing supportive platform. I have been learning a lot from SGAC. So I think might be the first female coordinator from Pakistan for SGAC, but there have been a few people from our government space agency at SGAC.
So I have a very important question. What was it like for you whenever you got that signed telescope from Scott Kelly?
I shouted like a little baby. I shouted. Honestly, I shouted and I cried. I was crazy. Winning the telescope was really a big thing for me 2 years ago, but getting them out of customs and the airport was another mission impossible. So I felt really good when I received it. But I remember I saw this video on internet where astronaut Scott Kelly was signing my telescope, and he was saying my name, that what do you want me to sign it? But the person who was standing with Scott was telling him that that's the pronunciation and that's the spelling. So I literally tried and I shouted. I remember I took my laptop to my dad and I showed him, like, look, this is happening, and Scott Kelly is my favorite astronaut. Like, oh my God, that was something really huge for me. And I had this exact same feeling when I got autographed by Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah, I totally know how that feels to get something really meaningful from people that you look up to and that have inspired you. And I know that was a really special moment for you. So I also know that you do a lot when it comes to not just astronomy, but also debunking these myths, because there's just not a lot of people that are there that are science communicators that are talking about what's going on. And I know that I've read about it more than a few times, that it's something that you put a focus on. So what does it mean to kind of have to go in and correct what people think? Or, are there flat earthers there like there is here? Or is it just, do they think the moon landings were
Yes.
fake? Like, what all is it that you have had to deal with, and how do you approach that?
Yes, that's true. We do have flat earthers here. We do have a bunch of people who think Earth is static. We do have people who consider that moon landings were fake. We do have people who believe that videos from International Space Station are fake and everything is staged. The second part, how do I approach them? I try my best not to get into the argument, because over here, so actually the reason is social media. Social media is a very good tool if you are using it to spread correct information. But once the wrong information is on it, it spreads like fire. And every person has an opinion which becomes their faith or their belief that they are right. And they are just not ready to accept the fact that their belief is wrong. That was just an opinion, and please try to see from the other side that Earth is not flat or Earth is not static and moon landings were not fake. There are a bunch of people, but thank God they're not kids. Kids do believe in moon landings. Kids do believe in space. There are just a few people. I personally believe that it might be because that we do not have scientific content or scientific literature in our local languages. So English is not our mother language, and not every Pakistani can understand English or any other language. Most of our scientific content, like all the books and everything, that's in English. So I think there should be something done for the people who cannot understand English, because a language barrier is really a big problem, and that's creating misunderstandings, misinterpretation of information from the internet, which is spreading like a wildfire. So I try not to be engaged in social media arguments about space myths. But I try my best to debunk all space myths in my classroom with kids. Yes, that's it.
And so outside of that, I mean, you've had a lot of challenges to get where you're at now. You mentioned a little bit earlier, you would talk to me and kind of vent about all the stuff that was going on, and you have persevered. It's been really exciting to watch. But what has been the biggest challenge that you've had to face so far, and how were you able to overcome that to get where you are now?
Biggest challenge was to prove myself, that was to prove that astronomy is a science. It is not useless, and there are a lot of things, but stepping into a professional, practical field as a teenager, because I used to be a nerdy kid for like 4 years in my grade 9, 10, 11, 12. I was just a kid who knew nothing except cramming her books. Literally, I was that person. And my only entertainment was watching movies, watching space movies, watching science fiction movies. I did nothing during my high school, during my college, literally nothing. Once I got admission into this medical college, I decided that I have to do something for astronomy. So stepping into this professional, practical field, being a youngster and people are not giving you space and they are not considering you good enough to do something. That was my biggest challenge, to to prove myself that no matter what my age is and no matter what my major at my university is, astronomy is something worth it, and I can do.
I love it. So for all the people out there that are listening, you've done such incredible work, and I know that you're still working on new things. So before we get to my last question is, do you have any other big things that are coming up? It seems like every time I talk to you, there's another article coming out, or you get to do some new cool things. So any big news that you want to share with us, or anything that you've been up to recently that you're really excited about?
Yes, there is a secret project on behalf of exploration. I, with a few enthusiastic space fellows, were working on this project, which is about a space magazine for kids. It is a single edition, and there is something cooking behind the scenes. You know that I do not announce things before I get them done.
Yep.
But I'm just telling that during the lockdown, I have worked on some incomplete projects which needed my attention. I utilized my time. I worked on them, and result is going to be out soon in a few months. And I'm super excited about that project.
And I'm excited for you. So for all the people that are listening at home that are inspired by your story and all the amazing things that you've accomplished, what are your words of advice to them if they want to follow in your footsteps?
I just want to tell them, there's a quotation by Gandhi: "Be the change you wish to see in the world."
We're losing you a little bit. Let's see if it clears up there real quick.
Hello.
Okay. I think you're back. Okay, you're back. So just start over, from the beginning of the answer there. But yeah, you're getting a little choppy on your side. Oh no. The most important question, and the internet is trying to stop the answer.
Work.
I think we lost you, Yumna. Wait, you might be back.
You should do on some, even if you can do like,
oh, no.
you can't sit in your home and kept complaining about the all the trash you dirty and blah blah blah. At least on as an individual responsibility. So be the change.
So it's breaking up pretty bad on your side.
Ronnie, it's troubleshooting.
It's troubleshooting. I know, right? Like, it was completely fine until we got to the end. There's only so much that you could do. So that was my last question anyway. So Yumna, I appreciate you coming on today. And so for people that don't know and want to go check out all the amazing things that Yumna does, make sure to check it out below. I've got the scroll on the bottom that will let you know where you can find exploration on the internet. She's always up to amazing things. So Yumna, I'm so glad that we were able to have you on today. And I'm sorry that the internet started breaking up right at the end. It's not the first time it's happened.
No, but good talking.
Oh no. Oh. Well, everybody, that's going to wrap things up. This is going to conclude this episode of the live edition of Space Foundation's Space4U podcast. You can subscribe to this podcast and leave us a review on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, and on Google Play. And don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And, of course, our website, www.spacefoundation.org, where you can also learn about the various ways you can support the Space Foundation. And don't forget to visit www.discoverspace.org for more digital content for teachers, parents, and students. You can support the Space Foundation, a 501c3 nonprofit, by visiting www.spacefoundation.org/donate. And on all these outlets and more, it's our goal to inspire, educate, connect, and advocate for the space community, because at the Space Foundation, we will always have space for you. Thank you so much for watching.